needs to happen. The BBC will continue to talk shite and control the minds of the people and poison the minds with propaganda, and humanity will just fall further and further into darkness. If we ever want to stand a chance of actually making a difference, we have to break the media, which is my goal. So, on Monday, just gone, I personally and publicly rang the BBC, and it is all documented, and I told them, as an investigative journalist, I can prove that people in the United States and associated with the US government are potentially trafficking and killing children. Does that shock you? It should. I have been screaming this from the rooftop since 2019. I have been ignored by the papers. You can listen to the phone call. I spoke to the Times, the Sun, the BBC, told them everything. The Sun and the Times hung the phone up on me. The Daily Mail said this story's not for us. How is it killing the children? Not for you! The real pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, is the trafficking and killing of innocent children. And it is happening on a daily basis all over the world. Research adrenochrome, research hyperdandrum, it's a drug. These elites gather it, they collect it, they drink it. They are vampires, they are soulless, lifeless pieces of shit. They do not want you to know this information, which is why they work so hard to stop this information coming out. I spent 2 years gathering all of the evidence from Pizzagate, and I put it back online after the government spent 4 years censoring all of the information. My research is truthful, it is factual, it is legitimate. It cannot be argued with and said this is fake news. The BBC are the fake news! And people all around the world need to wake the fuck up! My aim is to break the media, but I can't do it without your help. I need every single person who sees this speech to publicly call the BBC and say, what are you going to do about this information? They have two choices, tell the truth or try and discredit me. I am ready for the character assassination campaign against me. I will speak the truth until the day I die, and together we are going to burn this fucking matrix to the ground. All of you must call the BBC. I publicly am calling them out. I want an interview. Get me with an interview with the BBC. It has to be a live interview. They cannot be trusted. They will crop, they will edit, they will make me look crazy. I am publicly calling for this. I want to be on This Morning. I want to get on the BBC. I want to get on anyone who's gonna fucking listen, because they're killing kids! All of you were born into a war. An ancient spiritual war which stretches right back to the beginning of creation. There are 3 levels of angels in heaven: Gabriel and the cherubim, Michael and the Ophanim, and there was Lucifer when he was an archangel of being of light, which was the seraphim angels, and it was 1/3 of the angels that fell from heaven after Lucifer wanted to be like the Most High. He did not accept when God manifested light, the Word of God. It was Jesus Christ, Yahushua, Saviour, Messiah, who was presented to the angelic hosts of heaven. He was the light coming forward, and all of the angels basically worshipped him, apart from one, which was Lucifer. War in heaven ensued. Read the scriptures, read the book of Enoch, it tells us plain and simple. After the war, Lucifer was turned into a dragon and cast out of the earth. It was the fallen angels who set up the mystery schools. They built Atlantis, they built Lemuria, they built all of the ancient megalithic sites in the antediluvian world. Antediluvian means pre-flood. This was before the flood of Noah. They brought forward black magic. They said to the people at the time, which was the pre-Adamites, they said, worship us as gods and we will give you everything. But in return, we need blood sacrifice. Something to do with the blood feeds these supernatural beings, which is why it's still happening to this day. God brought forward the flood to cleanse the earth and destroy them, because after the rebel angels fell, there was another class of angels that came down called the Watchers. They petitioned God and said, We want to save mankind, but as soon as they got here, they digressed and they mated with God's creation and created a hybrid race of fallen angel, human, which was called the Nephilim. And the war that we're in is between two seed lines. It is between the seed of Lucifer, the devil, and this, because when he became Satan, and when he was cast out of heaven, he became the adversary. Lucifer was his name in heaven, then he became Satan, the adversary. So the war is between two seed lines. The seed of the devil, which was Lucifer, the father of Cain, and there's also the seed of Adam, or the seed of Jesus Christ, which is the good line. So it's a seed line, it's a bloodline war between good and evil. And all of you were born into it. You might not remember this, you might not know this, but all of you were all angels in heaven. You have that feeling in your heart when you look at the stars, you think, I recognise this, it feels right. You have that longing to go home, you know there is a connection there. Let me tell you something, people. The earth is flat, who agrees? This might be a bit of a controversial, very controversial subject. I thought it was crazy when I first looked into it, but let me tell you why I'm saying this. I used to believe in space, I used to believe in galaxies, universes, all of the things NASA tell us. I used to believe in the spinning ball model until I started looking into the flat earth. And basically, the evidence speaks for itself when you really look into it. We live on a geocentric plane. We don't live on a spinning ball floating through space. The heliocentric line, NASA, the deceivers, that's what NASA stands for. They are the deceivers, the liars. And the reason they created this heliocentricism, if you look at the Sumerian tablets, even back then, they were talking about the solar system and the heliocentricism. If you think that you're just this small, person in creation, then you look into the ever-expanding universe, and when you realise the Earth is flat and we are in a geocentric model, it means we have a creator. It means that you have a purpose. It means that you have a destiny. So basically, humans then become very important. We have a reason that we are all here. And if that's a bit much for people, just look into it, I assure you. Okay? So, the two seed lines, as I've mentioned. There's a few more things that I just want to say, but as I say, the most thing I want to do is get in the media, so thank you, please call. I just want to say on here. So, another thing I told the BBC, I know how to cure cancer. And I told the BBC this on the news, and I said, look, I know how to heal people with cancer, I've looked into doctors who know about it. Do you not agree the world should know this information? Seems so simple, but doctors have known this for years, and they get discredited, and they get told that basically that it's not true, and they basically just get discredited to the point where they will keep pushing, taking money off you for cancer research, and they just sponge the humanity. They think of us as slaves. Are you slaves? No. They think we're slaves. That's how they treat us. They don't care about us. They don't care about you. They don't care about anything you're going through. You live in the Matrix, people. The Matrix is an illusion. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. Do you understand? Do you feel that? We are all experiencing a great awakening right now, an awakening amongst the people. People all around the world are waking up, and the world that is going to come out of this is going to be incredible. You do not even imagine. When we come together, we have protests all over the world. I'm in connections with freedom fighters everywhere. Can you feel it? Can you feel the power? It's happening, people, and it's happening right now. And once we get in the news, and once I get on the media to talk about the factual evidence that I have to do with Pizzagate, all of us will bring the system down. Okay, a few more things I just want to quickly say before I go, guys. They're going to be pushing climate change. They're basically going to be pushing a lot of things on the world now. They're going to say global problems require global solutions, hence we need a one world government, we need a one world currency. COVID was the scapegoat because basically the bankers have been printing money for a long time, and in 2008, remember the crash in 2008? Basically the inflation was happening, and the crash came because there's too much inflation. Then they created something called quantitative easing, which basically means that the bankers could pump money directly into the economy just to keep it afloat. Then in 2019 it reached its limit. If the economy had just crashed in 2019, people would have asked questions. They would have said, why has this happened? And then they would have realised the reason was due to inflation and the bankers. So instead, they needed an excuse, which was COVID. Because now the crash of the economy is being blamed on COVID, which has never been scientifically proven to exist. SARS-CoV-2, Public Health England have said we have no isolated samples of the virus. In other words, it doesn't exist. 5G is electromagnetic radiation poisoning. Basically, it's all the telecommunication frequencies which is causing the flu-like symptoms in the population. All you have to do is get a radiation monitor and measure it, and you can see. 5G was turned on in Wuhan, Italy, Spain, and that was the exact same outbreak path of this alleged virus. The cities, the dense cities like this are very 5G heavy infrastructure, and basically this is where they say that most cases are. But then we have to look into the tests, because the PCR tests again are fraudulent. They are 90-something% false positives, which basically means that the majority of the time you will get a positive test. They are using the increase of. They are basically saying that with the increase of the cases, they don't talk about deaths, because they need the cases to go up with the fake test to keep us locked down. Do you understand? The inventor of the test, Harry Mullis, he said this test cannot be used to identify a specific virus in the body. So when you look at these facts that COVID's never been proven to exist and the tests are fraudulent, I'm not saying people aren't getting sick, I'm saying they're not understanding what it is. It's the 5G electromagnetic radiation. That's the big elephant in the room. The best way I can describe it is, imagine you go move into a new house and your neighbour hooks up some gas to your house, and he pumps it through your air vents, but you can't see it, you can't taste it, you can't smell it. Then he comes to your door and gives you some food and says, there's a lasagna, there's a shepherd's pie, and you go eat the pie. The next day you feel sick, and you're arguing yourself, it must have been the pie, it must have been the lasagna. Little did you know that it was the gas that the neighbour put into the house which made you sick. This is how you need to think about 5G, okay? Because it is very, very dangerous, people. And it can be used as a weapon as well. 5G works using microwaves, which on the visible light spectrum falls into non-ionising radiation. Ionising radiation is like an X-ray. That's why when they go behind the screen in the hospital, they have to hide from the radiation, which is dangerous. But they own the safety studies for the non-ionising radiation, and they tell you that it's safe, but it's not. Okay, and this is what they're using to basically harm the people. So there's a lot of 5G activists all over the world trying to get 5G turned off. If 5G was turned off, the symptoms in the population would disappear. This is the biggest lie ever perpetrated on humanity. Because evil families run the world, the seed of Lucifer. Let me just go back to that. When they created these human hybrid fallen angels, this was the line of Lucifer. And God brought forward the flood to cleanse the earth and get rid of them. But they didn't all die. They went on to be the Illuminati bloodline families. This is the richest families who run the world. If the government needs money, where does the government go? Goes the bank. Who owns the bank? Not the government. The bank is a separate entity, do you understand? The government goes to the bank and says, we need this much money. Then the families who own the bank fund both sides of war for profit and dictate to the government what they're going to get. That is how it works! It's not hard to understand once you start critically thinking, people. You know, we all need to wake up. Who are these families? How much influence do they have in the world? Start waking up, people. Evil people run the world. These are the families who control everything. I've got to come off soon. Look out for the one world currency, which COVID's given the excuse to push us into a digital economy, which they've always wanted a digital economy, because then they can control every aspect of our life. If you get a parking fine, or if you don't pay for something, they will just automatically deduct it out of your account. Total control of the people. That is what it has always been about. This is their end game. This is what they need to do. Final message of hope. If you've taken the jab, which is not a vaccine, it's part of a transhumanist agenda which it changes the function of your DNA basically to become a pathogen creator, to induce illness in the body. It destroys your immune system. There are millions of people dying around the world from the vaccine. Millions of people. It's a mass genocide, and it's not being reported in the news. People need to wake up. We need to expose the lies of COVID. We need to expose their bullshit. Because if we don't do it now, there ain't going to be humanity left to fight for. So guys, who's with me? Are we going to take this system down together or what? Let's do it! Let's do it! You might not agree that the Earth's flat. That's fine, that's my opinion. But that doesn't alter the fact that I've got proof about Pizzagate. That doesn't alter the fact that I've got the 5G's deadly. It doesn't alter the fact COVID's never been proven to exist. Okay, we're all adults up. We should be able to have a broad discussion about certain things. If we don't agree on something, that's fine. But let's look at the facts, let's look at the evidence. The bottom line is this: the government are full of shit. Thank you.